orden. Wilders hovedbudskab er at stoppe indvandringen af muslimer til Europa.
I really believe that it's 5 minutes to 12 when it comes to the danger of the Islamization of our continent, of Europe, indeed of the West.
Now, welcome, Geert Wilders. As we just heard 1 year ago, you said in an interview with a colleague of mine, it's 5 minutes to 12 when it comes to the Islamization of the continent. Tell me first shortly, what's the time now?
It's still a few minutes to 12, maybe 4 minutes to 12, because the Islamization is continuing. Only in my country we had 140,000 immigrants last year. But there's also good news. Parties like my party are getting stronger. My party became second largest party of the Netherlands in the European elections last year. So there is also a lot amount of people, normal people, that fear the Islamization and really want the government to act.
So a lot of people trying to stop the clock going?
Well, more people, not a majority yet, but more people than ever are supporting parties like mine that want to fight for freedom and stop the Islamization of our societies.
You've compared Islamization with a tsunami. Why is that?
Well, because the amount of the influx of both the mass immigration from Islamic countries and also the demographical changes are enormously. For instance, we have in the Netherlands today, we have 1 million people from Islamic background, and those were not even 100 some decades, 100 years ago. So it's really went very fast, very quick, and nobody really thought, unlike the last few years, what the changes meant. And the public is dissatisfied with it.
But how many of this million people represents to you a problem?
I have nothing against the people. I have nothing against Muslims. Let me make it very clear. I even acknowledge the fact that the majority of the Muslims in Denmark and Holland and Europe are law-abiding people. But still, I propose a ban of the immigration from Muslim countries, because I know that the more Islam, the more the Islamic ideology, which doesn't want to assimilate or integrate, but wants to submit and to dominate a society, the more they come, the stronger it becomes, the less freedom we will get, and the less pleasant our countries will become.
If we take an overview over the whole of Europe, 25 million Muslims are living around Europe. How many are we talking about being a problem here?
Yes. Well, in the whole of Europe, if you look besides the European Union, the numbers are higher. It's 50 million Muslims today. And it will be doubled in a few decades' time. In the year 2025, 1 out of 3 children born in Europe will be born out of Muslim parents. So with the immigration and the demography, it's going very fast. And once again, I'm not saying that those people are problems. I have nothing against people, against Muslims, but the
religion, that's a problem.
Yes, well, I see it not so much as a religion, I see it more as a totalitarian ideology. For Islam really wants to submit, wants to dominate our societies, doesn't want to be part of our society like Christianity or Judaism, which are originally part of our societies. So if this becomes stronger, you know that Islam, you know that the Quran, you know that Sharia law, which is part of the Islam, has nothing to do with freedom, has nothing to do with the rule of law. Sharia means that women, that homosexuals, that everybody who is not a Muslim will pay a very high price.
But still, Mr. Wilders, I'm asking, who's the problem here?
Well, not only the people. Like I said, we have nothing against the people, we have something against the ideology. The problem
but some people represent this ideology.
Of course, people tend to believe in it. And the biggest problem we face today is not only the immigration from Muslim countries and the demography, but also our weak leaders, the leaders of our countries, like the Netherlands and other countries.
But again, what's the number of people we're talking about here?
Well, an enormous amount of people. Like I said, 50 million people are living in Europe today, and I assure you that even though the majority of the people in our societies today are non-violent, are not terroristic, are not criminals, that the sooner the numbers are increasing, if a society will stay at 20, 30, 40% out of Muslims, an entire society will change. It will cost us our freedom. You already see it today, even here in Denmark. I believe that in the city of Copenhagen a few years ago I saw a report that 80% of the crimes were committed by immigrants, most of them Muslim. It's the same in the Netherlands. So you see, unfortunately, a change for the worse when it comes to crime, when it comes to intolerance, when it comes to the beating of gays in, for instance, the city of Amsterdam. When it comes to the governments that are giving in and that are stopping the freedom of speech in our societies.
Sorry to interrupt you,
yes.
but how many are we talking about here? How many represent this problem?
Well, a lot. There was many surveys.
What's a lot from your point of view?
Millions, tens of millions. There was a survey.
What about this tens of millions?
Please, you asked me a question. I want to finish my answer. In the Netherlands, there was a survey that 1 out of 3 Muslim youth wanted to install Sharia. In the United Kingdom, we had a survey that 30–40% of the Muslim students there said that they want to get rid of democracy, also want to install the caliphate, want to install the Sharia. You see the same numbers in Sweden and even in your own country, Denmark. You see that it's still a minority, but a huge amount of Muslims really want a different society than the democratical society that we have today. And as long as they are not a minority, but as soon as they start becoming stronger, they will, I'm sure, change their tune, and it will be too late to fight back.
And if you were the one to decide, then,
yes.
then what should happen to all these people, to these millions of Muslims?
Well, the people who are already in our societies and don't want to go back to their countries on a voluntary basis, I have a very clear message. If you abide by our laws, if you abide by our values, by our rule of law, by our constitution, you are very welcome to stay. And you are equal as anybody else, and we will even help you.
How many do you expect could abide this?
Yes, but let me please finish my question. So if you abide by all the laws and values, you are welcome to stay. But if you don't, if you commit a crime, if you start thinking about jihad or Sharia, then it's very clear we will send you away, we will send you packing, we will strip you of the Dutch or Danish nationality, and we will send you away. So it's a red line, abide by the rules, and you are welcome to stay. And if you don't, we will send you away the same day. And at the same time, we want to stop of the immigration from Muslim countries, from any Muslim countries to our societies.
How many do you expect to abide the law?
Well, unfortunately, you will see, even here in your country, Denmark, 70% of the population in your prisons consist of people from Islamic background. In Holland, it's unfortunately not so much different. You see all over Europe, if you look at the statistics, so it's not an opinion, I'm talking about facts, that if you look at the crime rates, that people from Morocco, Algeria, other countries are unfortunately, I wish it was different,
but what would you do to all these people? What would you do to all these people?
Well,
I mean, we're talking about millions of people. Are you going to send them out of Europe?
Yes, well, if they abide by our laws, if they don't commit crimes, if they don't start acting like Sharia or jihad, they are once again welcome to stay, and we will even help them to integrate by giving them money for education whatsoever. But if they don't, there's only one solution, and that is to send them away out of our countries immediately. And this is the only way and the only language, unfortunately, that is needed. If it was not a few minutes to 12, but a few minutes to 9 p.m., we could decide otherwise, but we cannot afford to do so anymore. We have been talking too long. Now we have to start acting in a tougher way.
And again, the number? What's the
Well, like I said, if I talk about the numbers, which 70% of the prisons, many people wanting to implement the Sharia or the Caliphate, are denouncing democracy. You are talking about millions now, and unfortunately, it will increase if we don't stop the immigration and if we don't start acting against people who act against our free societies and our values and rule of law.
Geert Wilders, thank you very much for joining us
Thank
here
you.
tonight.
It's my pleasure.
Og fortsættelse følger på Christiansborg i morgen, nemlig når Geert Wilders, som nævnt, er blandt talerne på en konference om ytringsfrihed.